Kundalini journey is one that allows us to rewire ourselves, recalibrate ourselves, and be in the world in a new way. It's an expansion of energy that comes from the divine. It's within our body, it's held there, but for some reason, it gets activated. For some people, they will do practices, Kundalini yoga practices, to awaken that energy, to bring that energy up their spine into a full enlightened state.
Welcome to the Daily Soul Bytes Show. I am your host, Bola, Abimbola, frequency alchemist, energy practitioner, and intuitive life coach. Daily Soul Bytes is where we have guest authors, coaches, and entrepreneurs from the fields of spirituality, psychology, and leadership, sharing their insights for the expansion of collective consciousness. And today we have a very special guest all the way from Sedona, Kerani. Welcome to the show, Kerani.
Oh, it's lovely to be here. I'm so pleased to be spending time with you.
I'm going to read your bio, Kerani Marie, before
we...
And Kerani Marie is based in Sedona, and she's a soulful inner wisdom guide, an alchemist of love and loss, an author, an artist, a ceremonialist, and creative muse. Through story, art, and ceremony, she awakens the soul's sacred journey, bringing it alive through vision, creative expression, and embodied storytelling. I love that.
I like hearing it. It's like, I want to meet her.
Kerani Marie, how did you get to this place where you are now sharing your wisdom and, carrying on with the creative projects that you have been doing for a number of years? I know that life is about stepping stones. It'll be good to hear some of the stepping stones that have led you to this place.
That's a great question, because it actually started, the biggest step was in 1975 when I had a dream. My friend was going to introduce me to her spiritual teacher that day. And the night before, I had a dream where I saw a book on a shelf and a bright light shining on it. And I didn't even know what the words of that book meant. But it kept sticking with me all day, like something just doesn't go away, just keeps floating in. And that night, when we actually got to the place where I was going to meet her teacher, that's when I walked into the foyer of this temple, and there was the book on the shelf with a light on it. And that is the book the teacher started teaching from that night. And it was called Raja Yoga, the Royal Yoga. And that was the beginning of my spiritual path. From that moment on, I knew there was something more beyond the visual eye of things that we see or the cultural needs, that there was something greater being communicated. And I just dove in. There was nothing going to stop me from that point forward. So I read everything I could. I attended teachings. I took a spiritual pilgrimage around the world. I studied different religions, meditation practices, and it's a continuation of an inner knowing. It's like we're remembering something that we really miss, but we've always known.
Are you looking for AAA grade jewelry or gemstones? Utter Spirit are those we will recommend. They actually do really wonderful jewelry. They have gifted me really nice lapis lazuli, which is really good for connecting with universal wisdom. And also this shungite beads, which come from Russia, and they're really aren't rare, because a lot of the times you get shungite beads which affect your skin, and these beads have been really nice. My son also loves them, and Otter Spirit, they give back to nature as well. So that is really nice that they are contributing to the environment, and they also send this intention cards. They're quite nice. This shungite card says, I cleanse myself from harmful energies. And the lapis lazuli card says, I am connected to the infinite wisdom of the universe. So there's information that goes with it, as well as them, producing really good quality jewelry. So I will recommend to connect with Otter Spirit. And the code will be going with this video. So check them out.
And I feel like that combination is what keeps us going, like a golden thread that just keeps pulling us toward our own essence. So that was the beginning, and the continued studies and drive toward, excuse me, wanting to be more intimate with soul and spirit and connection to myself.
I believe that. Sometimes when we look back at our childhoods, we do find that some of the things we're doing as adults, we were doing them as kids. We were doing something similar. I mean, I know that I was always a teacher. I remember my two younger brothers. I had the blackboard in front of them from the ages of 3, 4, and I've always loved teaching. One of the things that I'd love to know a bit more about, some of the things in your childhood that, if you look back now, you get a sense that you were already doing it even back then. Do you have any reflections like that?
I do. And what it was, one of the things was, I was taught as a Catholic that we had a guardian angel. And I used to make room for her in bed with me at night, because I really felt the presence of something beyond the physical realm. And so I'd always make sure there was room for her to lie down with me. So I know that that was one of the things. The other thing was, I knew I was different, but my choice at the time was to be quiet about it, because I didn't feel that it could be received. What I could see and feel and understand about life didn't fit the tribe. And so I kind of kept it to myself until I started on my spiritual path and started speaking up more. Yeah.
Yes. And I think we all, most of us have been conditioned not to be spiritual. It's really about that religious, or even atheist, affiliations that we're always encouraged. So yes, I totally resonate with that. I also had that. I know you mentioned something around being naked at the altar of the soul. Some of your
Yes, that's my new book, and it's I haven't even got this is still the proof right here, but it's poetry. But it's poetry from the different realms of existence. It's the realm of the underworld, the place where we go for deep unraveling, for facing the struggles or the hard things or the complexes or shadows of life. And then there's poetry from the realm of the mystery, the place where we don't understand, but somehow we know, but we get to experience something that is beyond us. And that's the realm of the mystery. And then the last realm is the realm of remembering, that remembering who we truly are. So I wrote poems and for each of those realms. And being naked to me means that we're stripped of all the layers of identities and social and cultural edicts that have been placed upon us. But instead, we are just purely there, ready to receive at the altar of our soul what is pure and ready for us to take in.
That is so powerful. I love the fact that you are coming from a place of emptiness, because that nakedness, that need to really remove some of the conditionings that have stopped us from understanding the truth of who we are is so key. That nakedness, that emptiness is so important. And I know that there are a lot of catalysts that we have around us in our day to day that really enable us to step into that place of emptiness, of nakedness. I know that for you, grief has been one of those things that you have experienced that has allowed you to really touch this in your own life. Could you tell us some of the things that you have experienced in that area of loss, of grief, that has led you to a deeper understanding of that naked truth?
I like the term you used, intermixed with naked, is emptiness. And that's really embodies what it represents as well. I can give you the most recent example. During a 5-month period in 2019, I had my marriage dissolve and my husband leave, my father die, my brother die, my need to sell my home, close my spiritual center and sell that, prepare my father's home and brother's home and sell that, and then buy a new home and move to Sedona. And that was all in a 5-month period. The amount of loss that I experienced all at the same time, the basic rooted stuff of our relationships, our parents, our siblings, our homes, our spiritual center, there was so much that was just being taken away. And the pain of that, the anguish of that is so profound. But when we're able to stay present, to truly be with what is happening and not fight it. Like many times you want to say, this can't be, no, I don't want it. And you just get angry and you fight it. When we can feel the pain of loss and still be present to the love that existed and is still exists, to the blessings of the relationship, and that you're alive and that you have the capacity. I really had to honor my capacity to manage all of that in such a short time and come out the other side still feeling the love and the gratitude. And so I refer to grief as in the terms of an alchemy of heartbreak, right? A sacred journey with grief, which allows us to dance with both the loss and the love and to discover what emerges from that. Because grief and loss, they don't go away. They become part of you. And so it's learning how am I in the world today living with this? And what are the gifts I can bring to life because of it? That's my experience with using my heartache and using the alchemical journey of dancing with the love and the grief.
I love the word alchemy,
Yeah.
because in this duality that we all exist, this third dimension where we know that there is that conditioning of fear, and we have to come to understand both the fear and the love. And that's why I wrote my book, Daily Soul Bytes. Daily Soul Bytes for an Inspired Life. This Daily Soul Bytes is really about the different perspectives within us, perspectives of fear and love. And it's allowing us to remember that when we have a fearful thought, that is something around a loss, something around an anxious thought, we can remember that we also have within us that infinite loving perspective, infinitely never ends, constantly replenishing and reminding us of a deeper understanding of love. It never ends. Our understanding of love can never end. It only deepens. So Daily Soul Bites is really asking us to come to a place of becoming much more comfortable with multiple perspectives within us, the fear and the love. And then alchemy. Alchemy is where we are now bringing the two together. I'd love to hear more from you, Kirmari, as to how you alchemize love and loss, love and fear, because we all have different parts. We have different parts of identities within us, including love, including fear, including that neutral space of naked truth. There is a need for us to hold all of that within us and alchemize it. How do you, in your life and in your work, how do you do that alchemy of love and loss and fear?
That is a powerful question because it is a lifelong journey. Because life always presents us with challenges, and I like to use the term. The process of remembering who you are is so you can stand in the wholeness of your love. And the wholeness of our love includes the grief, the loss, the fear, the anger, the parts of us we don't like, the parts we'd like to disown. It's coming into relationship with every part of us that you spoke of. That is the alchemy. So I'll share this with you. A couple of weeks ago, I had a book release. And the night before the book release, I felt I had no right to share what I thought and what I wrote. I wasn't good enough. And most of the time, what we do with that is we start to believe those thoughts and we take ourselves down and we minimize ourselves. How I do it differently is I come into relationship. I go, oh, the part of me that doubts me, the part of me that doesn't believe I'm enough, wants to be heard right now. And so I acknowledge its existence and I befriend it. I welcome it in and say, hello, you're here. What can I learn from you? And I want that part of me to know I'm here. Hold my hand, because I have written these books and we're going to have a launch tomorrow and people are going to be listening. But you can stay with me. You can hold my hand and I will acknowledge that you are here too. When we do that, that's how I do my dance with alchemy, and the hard parts and the beautiful parts, or the parts that are ecstatic and filled with love and joy and creativity, and the parts that are scared and afraid and tired and want to hide, I bring them together. And in that bringing them together, I become more whole. I'm not denying, running away from, or hiding from parts of me. I'm bringing them into life. And then there's more life to give. And there's more wholeness within myself.
The acceptance of the different parts, because there is sometimes that desire for us to, and it's a trigger. When we're triggered, there are a number of different ways. Sometimes we fight, sometimes we run, sometimes we freeze. And it takes a pause, it takes practice, it takes learning, training for us to really pause when that urge to be reactive, and we can learn to respond, and we can learn to come to parent, almost like a parent to a child, come to see those parts of us, and we can experience a lot more coherence. That's also part of the work that I do, is supporting my clients to come to a place of coherence of the different identities without judgment, with love, that allows us to really experience our best outcomes. There are always outcomes we're experiencing, but there are some outcomes that are better than others, So it's always, and we know what we prefer, and we know we cannot have only those things. And it's about pausing without judgment to acknowledge those parts of us that are creating certain experiences, certain feelings, that are of a lower frequency than we know our true selves to be. I'd love to know some of the catalysts that you've been at, because I know you've had a Kundalini or maybe even a couple of Kundalini experiences. Is the catalyst, I believe. I believe these are, we all have, I think spirit has a thirst, the divine has a thirst for expansion. And some of these catalysts do help us to expand our connection with our truth. I'd love you to tell us a bit about your catalyst, your Kundalini experiences, for instance.
There's been so many catalysts, but I will address the Kundalini since you brought that part up. I feel like every single experience is an opportunity for delving deeper into spirit and deeper intimacy with what it means to be a human being. All parts, like we talk about how we befriend the different parts, how we love the different parts. So the Kundalini journey is one that allows us to rewire ourselves, recalibrate ourselves, and be in the world in a new way. It's an expansion of energy that comes from the divine. It's within our body, it's held there, but for some reason, it gets activated. For some people, they will do practices, Kundalini yoga practices, to awaken that energy, to bring that energy up their spine into a full enlightened state. And what I've learned, because this is my second one, and the most fascinating thing about this is, Boa, is it was exactly 27 years to the very same day from my first one to my second one. And so my book that I write about it is, what were the golden threads we've woven together that connected those two? What were the golden threads of learning, of awakening, of more soul, of more love? How have they changed over those 27 years, or how are they the same, or how are they showing up? So it was a deep, deep exploration for me, and a deeper catalyst into the mystery of life. Like, why did this happen again? How did this happen again? What did I do? All of those kind of human ways of approaching something, until I had to relinquish that and surrender and say, there is no answer. There's only pure experience. And so I would say that's the greatest gift that I got from this activation of energy that brings you to your knees in humbleness and in uncertainty, and takes you to the greatest heights of profound love and grace. But I think the thread was trusting and surrendering fully and completely to know whatever this is in service to being more profoundly connected to life and spirit and service to life. So yes, in that way, it's a huge catalyst. And over the last 5 months, I was sharing that I wrote 5 books. And it's like, how is that even possible? I have no idea, because I couldn't have done that before. And it was like this pure creative energy flowing through me and coming through me. And all I could do was write. I didn't have the capacity to be in the world very well because I wasn't functioning well. But I could sit down and write. And that was the gift for me. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you for that. Honestly, I totally agree with you. That Kundalini experience is, because I remember having mine in 2020. And another one may come. I don't know. It comes by grace. It doesn't announce itself. There is no announcement that I am now going to come and give you an experience of Kundalini. No. But I'd love you to share with us what it was like, because it is quite disruptive. If I didn't have an understanding of it, I would probably have had myself checked in to a hospital
Right.
because of
Right.
the physical symptoms.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember being very sensitive. Suddenly I felt a lot colder than I normally would. Then I'd feel hot, and I had to have my crown chakra covered at all times because it felt so cold.
Oh,
And
cold, vulnerable. Yeah.
and everybody experiences these things, experiences the Kundalini in different ways, but the outcome is so clear as to the creative outburst. I remember writing my book after I had my Kundalini
Mhm.
as well. Could you tell us a bit about the things that you experienced? Because this is something that anyone watching this may understand how Kundalini experiences can be. It's not something that I think is unique. It's unique, but it can be quite disruptive. I wonder if you could share, if you're open to sharing some of the
Sure.
disruptions that you experienced at that time of your Kundalini experience.
I'm happy to, Lola. And that's why I wrote the book. And it's called Sacred Continuum, the encounter with the Shakti Kundalini energy. But I wrote it because there is a lot of misconception. Either people don't know what it is, or they believe that, gee, you have a Kundalini experience and you're enlightened and everything, is good. I agree with you 100%. It's different for every single person. So when I share with you what my experience was, it doesn't mean that will be what yours is, but if it's similar, at least you have a sense of what's happening. So the first time it happened, I was just sitting in a chair watching TV with my husband, and I felt this heat go up my spine. Because they say the Kundalini energy sits at the base of your spine, and it's like a serpent, and it spirals up your spine and through your crown chakra, clearing the path of any obstacles in the way. Well, I was sitting there and the heat was so intense. I could not believe how hot my spine got. And I lied down on the ground because I felt odd. And I finally said, I need to go to bed. And then I said to my husband, please come in. Please come in and spoon me because I don't have a spine. I feel like my spine has melted. And then the next morning when I awoke, I had lost control of my arms and legs. So that was like, what the heck is this? Because it does impact the physical body. So that took many years of a lot of work with a lot of different healing modalities to help my body learn to integrate and stabilize, because I'd go into convulsive states. I'd become rigid. You'd think you're going crazy. Your brain is so active with so much more energy than we're used to being with, right? I became chemically sensitive. I became electromagnetically sensitive. So it took a lot of years. But through that journey, that's how I learned and became part of developing my ability to do craniosacral therapy. Through that, I met my Jungian analyst and worked with him for 20 years. So through the journey, all kinds of gifts came to me in a big, big way. Now, fast forward 27 years later, here now, it wasn't as extreme, but I felt the energy in my back, my tailbone, and my sacrum, and coming up my spine. And I went, whoa, here I go again, And there was a part of me going, no, 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 not again. But definitely it was and is. And through this time, it could be, the confusion is very common and happens quite often. Don't know what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, don't know what to do. Overreacting, like fight, flight, getting scared quickly, body shaking just because too much energy, legs feeling weak, nausea, that kind. Those are the physical symptoms. But like I shared, it would take me to the underworld, to the depths of sorrow, of fear, of anger. and then take me to the heights of the purest, profound love, that everything I looked at and touched was pure love. My computer was love. Everything was love. So it's a movement and an integration. And the gifts are profound and the challenge is there. And now I'm at a place where I'm balancing out more, I'm integrating more, my body's calibrating, and I'm learning to live with it. So I can have a good day like today and a good day yesterday, but the day before was challenging, where I just didn't feel right, wasn't functioning the same. So I hope that helps anyone that's having symptoms or wondering about it. My book will be coming out January 11th, and it tells the whole story, the whole journey, and what I've learned. That there's nothing to fix. There's just the living in the purity of what is in the moment and trusting, just trusting it all. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Kerani. Honestly, there is such an awareness that we need to have around our own self, with compassion. Because when we begin to feel these changes, these disruptions within the physical body, sometimes there is nothing outside of us that tells us to go within, to actually look at what is happening within me. We may be seeking a lot of validation or a lot of modalities that will take us outside of our own self. But if anybody is listening to this or watching this, it's important for us to know that Kundalini awakening is asking for a journey within, a journey to understand the energy beings that we truly are. So, by the time we broadcast this, Kerani's book will be will be out, so you will be able to grab a copy of it. A Kundalini awakening definitely requires an integration, requires a deeper acceptance of self. I know that I worked with a lot of affirmations. My guide supported me, knowing that nothing on the outside could actually make me any happier or any more peaceful,
No.
any more safer than I truly am, that I truly, truly am already. And even to this day, I still have that affirmation that there's nothing on the outside that can really make me any happier or more peaceful or safer than I already am at this present time. And we have to keep reminding ourselves and surrounding ourselves with modalities and tools that help us in that moment to really begin to integrate and to come into a state of calm in the present. And it's a journey. It's not something that happens and we never have to do it again. It's an ongoing journey, depending on the theme that we have come to explore. So, I do want to thank Kerani for explaining that. What is the title of your book again, Kerani Marie?
Sacred Continuum. It's the continuum of the two, to see it as a journey, right? Yeah.
Sacred Continuum by Kerani Marie.
Marie, right. Right.
Lovely. Well, thank you so much. Now, tell us about now. You've got this underworld womb cave incident.
Oh, yes.
your facility sounds fascinating.
Well, that was created after I moved to Sedona, and it was one of those catalysts or one of those blessings that you didn't plan on. You didn't even know it was going to happen. It just showed up. And I was told to build a womb cave on my property, and it became a labor of love and a labor of discovery, because I didn't realize that it was being done for my own healing of my own womb. I had all these great ideas and creativity, and I'm going to make this available to so many people. And then it just of course, your own healing first, always, so that when you are guiding someone else, you've walked the terrain, you know how to do this. So what we do on my property is I take people on a journey onto the land, to a medicine wheel, to a spiral, to sit with the great grandmother spirit. So where you give her your seed that you're planting, your intention. This is all in preparation for you to actually enter into the womb through the birth canal. And so I open the portal and invite you in, and it's a round cave. You're sitting on the earth, on the stones, and we invite in all that you need to remember who you are and to stand in the wholeness of your love. And that's what we've been talking about, how to alchemize all these parts. So we journey, we drum, we sing, we work with the parts of us that need tending to and more love. And so that's available here as well. And I've done many, many journeys for many people. And during my Kundalini process now of healing and reorienting and recalibrating, I've given that a break because I needed to go in my own womb, my own cave to heal. But I'm looking forward to stepping into it again in a new way, in a deeper, more profound and enriching way in service to helping others.
The name Underworld Womb Cave.
Yeah.
Because, underworld has a particular meaning, the womb has another meaning, and then the cave. But
I know all of it.
it all sounds very, kind of shamanic. Could you tell us a bit about some of the modalities, because I heard a bit about kind of, sound shamanic work, and there is some earth shamanic work. Can you tell us a bit about the modalities? I also know you have creative arts, you draw. Can you tell us some of the modalities that you use in your work and in the underworld, the womb cave?
Definitely. Well, everything is based, that bottom line again is the alchemy of love and loss, and how to integrate and embrace all parts of yourself. And what I use for that is the creative juices we just talked about, through art, through writing, through working with your hands in clay or gourds. It's all about, how do I bring this out into the world? How do I bring myself into a visual experience of myself by, having it mirror back to you? So I do use the creativity as one aspect. Energetically and through craniosacral work is really working with the energies of the body and the internal inner wisdom and inner healing capacity that we have. I think you mentioned that, there isn't something outside that's going to make me happy or fix things. It's what's internal. So the modalities of healing that I use, because I've done massage and Reiki and the craniosacral work, is all about you coming into relationship with yourself and the intimacy with those energies. And the Jungian work that I've done for 20 years is also part of it, which includes that alchemy. How do I embrace all parts of me? How do I see everything that's happening outside of me as a reflection of myself? If I'm angry at somebody for what they're doing, I will ask, how do I do that? What part of me has been wounded by that kind of energy? What do I need to help heal that? So everything I use, nature and the spirits of the land, the teaching people or helping them to trust their own intuition. What I'm cultivating right now is a new program that just emerged just in the last week. And it's really informing me in a big way. It wakes me up at night wanting to be expressed through writing and discovery. But I'm calling it the Way of Wise, a sacred initiation into your own wild, intuitive, and soulful embodiment. And so I want to help others to discover what that is. How do they walk the way of wise? Are they incorporating their wild nature, stripped naked, empty of all the overlays to find their essence? Are they learning about their intuition and trusting it? Are you walking with your soulful intentions? And are you embodying it all, that it isn't just intellectual communication? So, yeah, and through that program, I'll be utilizing all the skills and modalities that I practice.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Now that's powerful. That's the value of training, of learning, of studying, of all your different modalities are going to be things that your clients will benefit from. That
Right.
toolbox, that very wide toolbox, that is so powerful because everybody needs a toolbox. And sometimes the tools we used in a different timeline are not the same as the tools we need now. And so having a
Exactly.
practitioner who uses a range of tools is so key. And I would love to hear more about your embodied storytelling. You've mentioned it, but I'd want to talk a bit more about because the body has a consciousness and intelligence of its own. The times we're looking at the mind or the spirit, the body itself holds a lot of information that we sometimes need to release in order for us to repair and replenish it. And for it to work with us. There's a lot of wisdom there. I'd love to know how you use embodied storytelling, what it is, and how your clients benefit from it.
That's a great question. And I wanted to just piggyback a little bit about what you said, is that some people say, isn't that a lot of work, or isn't that hard to get there or do what you're saying? And it's like, absolutely, it is hard work. And it's worth every moment of your time, because where you end up with that work is really a soulful, heartfelt living where you can feel great compassion and love for others and an ease of living. So it's so worth it. And yes, it is through embodied storytelling. What I will do is share with you an experience I had to help you understand what that means. A couple years ago, I fell and I tore some things in my shoulder. And we're working on it. And all of a sudden, a memory comes back. And the memory was of a pattern I carried in my body of my own mother's experience, where she had been physically harmed. And it was in that shoulder. And my body carried it by being in her body. It was transferred to me. So my body was still carrying that. And as it revealed itself, rather than just making it, oh, I tore a ligament or I tore something and that's all it is, I listen. Just like I do for the alchemy, I listen to what wants to be heard here, what wants to be spoken. And it was a scream. It was, stop it, don't hurt my mommy, And by giving that embodied into the story, into the world, into the words, it helps it to move. It isn't just energy held, hiding away, afraid, angry, disowned. It becomes part of me now that can allow that energy to do something else. Yeah.
It is definitely profound. And the impact is felt in every aspect, in that physical, in the mental, in the spiritual. The head is clearer, we feel lighter, we feel more creative. Somatic body work is really important, I believe. I don't think one can focus only on one part of self, another to really experience that wholesomeness, that whole being. There is a need for us to work with that body intelligence and heal it and honor it with as much grace as we can, because it's not something that we do of our own self. It's really the grace
Mhm.
that we receive, that we're allowed to step beyond that conditioning, and it could be ancestral as well, as you've just shared, Kerani. Could you tell us some of the things that you share with women? Because I know most of your work, you work with women, and that underworld womb cave is really that feminine essence. Do you have any final words to share for women who um, may want to touch base with that strong feminine essence? It's a very powerful essence of healing. Do you have any final words to say for women who may be listening or watching this today?
Hmm. What I would share is that our wombs are sacred, and it's a place where creativity flourishes. Not only can we create life in the womb, but even if we never did that, it's still available, all those creative juices. And my my offering to you is to trust your own inner intuition and instinct. A lot of times, let's go to my heart and see what my heart wants. Start going to your womb and asking your womb what it wants. Asking your womb if this feels right for you, because that's learning to trust your divine feminine energies even more. And you're dropping even farther away from the mental, deeper in to that juicy, dark, rich place, like a cave, where you can go into the depths, like if you go into the depths of the earth and connect to all the rich earth and all of the mycelium and all of the roots of life, or you can reach up into the cosmos even before you were born and bring those energies in. But everything can connect right at the womb, and then the womb and the heart start to talk and create. So I would just invite you to trust. Start connecting, start listening, paying attention, putting your hands there, thanking it, thanking yourself for being a woman, thanking yourself for your creative juices, for the wisdom, for the potentiality, for who you are, and the grace of life and spirit itself. So, yeah, that would be my words of love to you.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us today, Kirani Marie.
Mm, very much a pleasure to get to know you.
Where can people find you when they want to connect with you?
KeraniMarie.com. So it's Kerani Marie, MARIE.com. And all my offerings are there. And if you do go to my website and sign up to be on the mailing list so I can let you know what's coming, I'll send you a free gift of different meditation practices that I think you would enjoy.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Kerani Marie.
Thank you
It's
so
really
much.
nice. Having this conversation has been great. Thank you so much. And I do want to thank our audience for joining us today and to invite you to connect with Kerani Marie. She has such a powerful facility in Sedona, as well as her online offerings. I would encourage you to lean into all that years of experience and training that she has. And also to invite you to subscribe to Daily Soul Bites. We always have very good guests come on, excellent guests every Wednesday. And I do look forward to seeing you on the very next episode of Daily Soul Bites Show. Bye bye.